Jamako, 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 Jamako.
Ujayi, and welcome to Wisdom of the Nile show, brought to you by the Earth Centre UK. My name is Catastrophe Kara.
And my name is Claudette Holder.
So in the first segment of the show, we'll be sharing with you some information on the Earth Centre. So who is the Earth Centre? The Earth Centre is an organisation, it's a non-profit organisation set up by Neb Naba Lamusa Morindenebeg, High Priest from the Dogomba people in West Africa, Burkina Faso. The first school was set up in Chicago 20 years ago, where the schools of initiation, the Earth Centre was set up, and the school which allows initiates or people who want to study traditional knowledge where they can go and do that. So the Dogon people are best known as the tribe or the people who know about this star that they call Sirius. Most people who know the Dogons know them for that. But within the tradition, and this is why this show is called Wisdom of the Nile, because the Dogomba people, as well as a number of other people, trace their history back to the Nile Valley civilization. And they were the priests to the pharaohs at the time. And when Kemet, which people call Egypt, was coming under attack, the Dagomba people left under the auspices of the pharaoh, left Kemet and traveled across the Sahara, taking the information with them into West Africa, and kept the initiatic knowledge, kept the knowledge of the Nile Valley civilization alive for thousands of years, where they practiced it in secret in the bush. So that school has now come to the UK after Master Naba transitioned 10 years ago. His son, Irita Shinmira, Naba Irita Shinmira, brought the school, the Earth Center School, here to the UK. And that the first school was set up 4 years ago. And we now have a school established in Leighton, London. We'll be giving out full details of the school. And also a school in Coventry. So just to tell you a little bit more about the structure of the Earth Center, it has different committees.
And there are 4 different sections to the school. First, we have the MTAM school, where we are taught Kemetic philosophy and spirituality. And in the school, we have 3 main topics. The first one is Medu, which is the hieroglyphs, which we are taught how to read and write and understand the concept of the language. The second part we have is Kartibi, which is yoga and meditation. And also we study philosophy in that section as well. The third part is Sunt. Sunt is where we are taught about the human body and how to heal ourselves by using special herbs, and also to diagnose all the different illnesses that we come to be in this world. The second part of the school, we have Ancasta, natural healing, and Ancasta is the section where we provide herbs which are grown in the indigenous architectural traditions of West Africa, without the use of chemicals and pesticides. And these herbs are unique to that area of Africa. These herbs are helped to heal the body as well. Ancasta also means the life and spirit of Aishat, and Aishat is the goddess Isis, for anyone who knows. And we named her because, you know, she's the goddess of love. She's the wife of Wusa and the mother of Heru.
And if I remember rightly, Wusa is the one they call Osiris, right?
That's
and
right.
Horus. That's
Yes,
right.
and
That's who the Greeks took from Kemet. And
That's
called them
right.
that.
And also, the other part of the Earth Center is the Firefly magazine. And the Firefly magazine, it brings information of our ancestors and values and knowledge to the people who are interested in gaining that knowledge of healing. So those are the main sectors of the Earth Center.
Okay, and we also have the PIM, Project in Merita Committee, And the project in Merita, it basically does just that. There's lots of projects. So Merita is what we call Africa. So there's lots of projects that the Earth Center have set up. Projects like setting up wells in communities so that communities are able to get water, using actually solar panels to use to get water to those communities, drawing up water in those communities. We also have a healing center that has been recently built. Anybody from the West who wants to go over and get traditional healing, that center is there for persons who want to, you know, get healed through the traditional ways of healing. We also have projects where agriculture, growing food, 110 hectares, I believe, acres have been purchased. Some of that is being currently used to grow food. We also have projects where the temples are being restored, the traditional temples are being restored. So there is a lot going on the ground in Merita where persons who want to get involved can do. We have our details, our information. So Claudia, if you give out our information.
Right, we have
Contact information.
The contact information for the EC UK school. First, we have the telephone number, which is 020 7175 4144. I'll repeat that again. It's 0207 175 4144. We'll give that out again later on as the evening goes on. We also have an email address. Our email address is mtamuk@theearthcentre.com, and it's centre spelt with ER.
And for those who may not know how to spell
Yes, Umtam is MTAM UK @ the Earth Centre, spelt with the ER for centre.com. Facebook is the Earth Centre UK. Twitter is Kibtah, which is KEBTAH UK. And at Instagram, it's at the Earth Centre of UK. Our website is theearthcentre.org. And we'll repeat that later on in the evening as we go along.
Okay. Thank you, Claudia. So we've just shared some information with you, just for those listeners who do not know about the Earth Centre, to give you some information about the Earth Centre. And as the show progresses, we will be sharing more with you about the school, about the Dagomba people, and a bit about the traditional wisdom that comes out of the school now, which comes out through the school from the initiatic temples. We do have initiation open, actually, I think this last week. If anyone is interested, after this week, no one will be able to actually come in for this set of what we call generation, because by then, after 2 weeks, you usually find that the classes have gone too far. But if anyone is interested in coming to the school to know a little bit more about initiation, and maybe as we go through the program, you know, you listen to some of the knowledge, you may get more interesting, then you can call the number that we have.
And the number is 0207 175 4144, and our address is 21 Sunnyside Road, Leighton, London, E10 7BB. And you can come from Leighton Station or Stratford, and there's the bus route, the number 58 and the 158. We'll also repeat that further on in the show.
Okay, we're going to go into some music now, and we'll see you on the other side for the next segment of the show.
Is where you can set.
Hey everybody, this is Sanan Nesebik. I'm a graduate of the EC of the Earth Center, and today I'm going to be reading from the Firefly number 63, which is Master Naba's memorial issue. So the title is Pilgrim's Walking Stick, Chem Genius Through Time, the Sidereal Calendar. The man henceforth regarded as the father of history, Herodotus, relates that he saw in Thebes 341 wooden statuettes representing the great priests who have succeeded one another since the foundation of the first temple 11,000 years before my first trip to Egypt. Modern historians have rejected this affirmation by Herodotus, even though they still regard him as the father of history, and maintain that African civilization started only 6,600 BC. The theory maintaining that the pharaonic history of Africa dates back 4,500 years is entirely wrong. First, because of the 1,461-year calendar, it is impossible for a civilization that has observed, studied, analyzed, and adopted a 1,461-year sidereal calendar to have done so in such a short time span. Besides, most Soviet historians and archaeologists have in good faith acknowledged and underlined the impossibility for a people to develop in such a short time span so as to become the civilization who bore the name Daughter of the Sun. In 1956, Peter Colosimo, aka Pier Domenico Colosimo, wrote that the Egyptian archaeologist Faki Issam extracted from the excavation of Wizdom materials of an extraordinary finesse made out of a linen so pure and so strong that it could be only reproduced in a high qualified fabric factory. Walter Bryan Emery, a British Egyptologist, observed that in what was quite impossible for human hands to weave this material. Thousands of instances of discoveries in very diverse fields on the African continent become simply enigmatic because modern scientific man has not been able to free himself from ideological shackles. We cannot talk about the universality of sciences if scientific research does not appreciate things for their real value and show to people and civilizations their due respect and consideration. After consideration of Saqqara, Abydos, and Helena, Soviet scientists announced that some inscriptions are the relegation of the Egyptian calendar, and some maps extracted were at such a high level of precision that they stun the modern mind. When they talked about perfectly spherical crystal lenses, which were supposed to be spare parts of instruments used for the observation of the canopy of heaven, people started wondering whether Africans had discovered electricity. Inscriptions in newly opened tombstones correspond with 25 cycles of the heliacal rising. That is, 36,525 years. It has then been scientifically proven, according to Colosimo, that Africans, mainly from the Nile Valley, used the sidereal calendar since 40,000 years ago, since one has to count back from 42,041 BC. It is this very sidereal calendar which the Earth Center is reintroducing. The position of stars fixed on celestial maps in the Nile Valley and identified by Russian archaeologists in the same manner as thousands of years ago confirmed the maps themselves. What we know for certain is that the sons of the Nile were the custodians of prestigious astronomical knowledge. What we did not know is that they already know of the existence of Sirius's dark companion. That was a conclusion drawn by Colosimo in his paper on African sciences. After mentioning the historian Abu Zaid al-Baki for his statement on the Khufu pyramid, an inscription revealed to us that the pyramid, was built at the time when the Lear was in the Cancer. That is 2 times 36,000 solar years. In other words, 73,300 years ago. So that was an article from Firefly Volume 63, the Master Naba Memorial issue, and it's called Pilgrim's Walking Stick, Chem Genius Through Time, the Sidereal Calendar.
Dua Sanun. Okay, now we'll have a small talk by who we call the Zeshmi. Zeshmi, he's like the president of the Earth Center, and he's going to do a small talk on mapping the cosmos, strength v wisdom.
Back home in Kemet tell us the same thing. They say the places of the world that have money aren't the places that have the knowledge. Those in the world that speak the loudest aren't the ones that really have something to say. And those who have something to say usually are the quietest ones. This is the situation that we're facing in humanity. And it becomes a very difficult situation because if we don't each take the responsibility of investigating what's going to be the best for our lives and our survival, then we usually fall victim to whichever one talks the loudest, has the most money to put into their productions, has the best rap or con that they can sell us. This is our situation. And so now, when we're talking about very deep sciences and important sciences like timekeeping, astronomy, even astrology, we have to keep in mind that here in a colonial culture, here in the United States, it's not the wisest or the communities, the cultures with the most knowledge that we've heard from so far. For example, how many of you know that the calendar that we function on has no scientific basis, has no astronomical basis? They tell us that the calendar, the year calendar, 365 days, and in 365 days the Earth rotates around the sun, right? And then, but there's a little bit left, a quarter of a day left, so every 4 years we add an extra day, and that's called the leap year, right? But how many of us know that the leap year has nothing to do with the Earth's rotation around the sun? That knowledge was plagiarized, was taken. But because today's universities, today's scientists in the colonial worlds weren't the one that investigated their surroundings to find that knowledge, they can't really tell you what is behind that knowledge. Because knowledge shouldn't be a mystery, right? If I sought it out, I investigated, I studied, I know how I got it. I could explain every part. But if I got it and I stole it from you, now I gotta give my own reasons. And then when you check, those reasons don't add up.
Touré.
Samba Gelajo.
Sinamori le sinamori, sinamori le sinamori, sinamori le sinamori. Fatumba yerele kini benato sinamori, kawodo sinamori dabari yaburimba sinamori. Fatumba yerele. Fadumba yerele kinim.
Ujai, Ujai, and welcome back. Welcome back to our Wisdom of the Nile show. Okay, so this part of the show is called Initiate Space, and we are going to share this space with our initiate, Sanun. Sanun, you did the reading with us earlier. Ujai. Ujai, and welcome to the initiate space. And this space is where the initiate gets to share their journey through initiation or before initiation. So, Sanun, where would you like to start sharing so the listeners who may be interested in initiation can get a chance to understand what this journey is about and get a sense of what your journey was like?
You know, from the nun, coming from the nun. So in the EC, it's quite a deep name. You know, carries a lot of weight to it. And Nesebik is belonging to the god Sebik. So Sebik is the crocodile god. I'm sure a lot of people have seen him. Sometimes he's called Sobek. And he is a god of water. He is a protector god. He protects people from poverty and illness. He's also associated with death, but he is also a life giver. So, you know, the initiate's name, we get that when we graduate, and everything, you know, in existence has a name, has an identity, and that name represents, you know, its function, its journey through life, and, you know, its destiny, its mission. So, you know, so my name, that's what that means for me. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about, you know, my journey leading up to initiation, and hope you find it interesting and insightful. So, as a young child, I was, you know, my earliest memory is of, you know, making Christmas cards, and, you know, I loved art. I loved to, you know, to make things and draw. You know, that kind of, I have that creative spark. As a young child, you know, I grew up as a Christian, like so many of us. And, you know, Sunday school, you know, went there, learned, and, you know, I was interested in it. But, you know, you always kind of see the angels, they don't look like me, a person with dark skin. So, you know, I started to kind of doubt, you know, what is going on. You know, my family is black, but there's no angels, you know, who are black. So, you know, eventually I, you know, as they would say, I fell away from the religion. And, you know, at that time I was entering into secondary school. And for me growing up, school, you know, wasn't the greatest place. I loved learning, but there was a lot of trouble with other students, being very rowdy. So me being a quiet person, just I tried to get on with my work, that kind of thing. But eventually, I thought, okay, I was in RE class, religious education, and we were learning about Christianity and Islam. And I was like, oh, come on, I've already been through Christianity. So, and well, Islam didn't seem, very much different. So I asked my teacher at the time, are we ever going to learn about, something else? And he said, oh, probably not. The curriculum is just, these two religions. But, go to the library and, have a look and see what you can find. So I think it was that night or, that week, my father, he brought some books home. Because, he worked in a publisher's. And one of the books was, world religions. And the first page was about, Buddhism. And I saw, a statue of the Buddha, nice gold statue. And he had, curly knots. And that, really took me by surprise. Because here, is an image of somebody who looks like, me, my people. At the time, I didn't have a, an afro or locks or, anything like that. But, I knew that those things existed. So, I started reading it, and it fascinated me because it seemed like there was just another level to it. It wasn't, well, for me anyway, it wasn't the same, dogma, that you hear, week after week. So, just as the teacher said, I went to the library and studied, Buddhism for about, 3 years. At the end of those 3 years, I was about 16 years old, and we were kind of getting ready to, I think, do our GCSEs and basically leave. So I'm thinking, what do I want to do? And I'd been reading about Buddhism, so I thought, well, why don't I become a monk? And I remember one of my friends, he's laughing at me and saying, "Oh no, why do you want to do that?" But for me, deep down, that's what I wanted to do. Go to Tibet or China or somewhere, India, and be a monk. Excuse me. So after I left, a few years went by. Moved out of my parents' house, and I came across one of the Buddhist centers in London, and immediately thought, yes, this is the place for me. Started volunteering there, working reception, selling books, taking money for certain classes, whether it be yoga or the meditation classes. I was working in the library, sorting out the books, and also shrine cleaning as well. So for me, that was where it was at. That was my life. And I remember I took one of the courses that they did, and that kind of went through different aspects of Buddhism. And I wanted to really kind of progress and become a monk and be ordained. But at the same time, just through certain life events and whatever this system has to throw at me, I became confused about my gender. And it was at that point having counselling and that kind of thing. And it was very strange because in the Buddhist religion, to me it came across as very open and accepting of different people. There was homosexual people there, lesbians, etc. Vegetarians. So for me, I was like, oh, maybe I'd be accepted, for my gender difference. So I was discussing all of this with my counsellors, and going to see doctors, and doctors and counsellors were like, oh yeah, you can do whatever you want, it's fine. So ended up going to the gender identity clinic and taking the hormones and all those kind of things. And I was there working at the Buddhist Center, and I then expressed that my gender wasn't conforming to society. And shocking for me, it wasn't taken so well. So I ended up kind of really kind of having to do soul searching, and through that time became quite depressed, and whilst you're on hormone treatment and antidepressants and things like that, it really kind of messes with you. So as much as I could quote unquote keep a clear mind about what I was doing, those drugs, they really kind of just allow people to manipulate you. So after a while, the process kind of gets to a point where, okay, you're gonna go for surgery, that kind of thing. So I did all of that, but nothing was really changing in my state of being. I was still depressed. Becoming, having suicidal thoughts, all those kind of things, and it was it was very rough. But one thing that kind of kept me going was thinking about, okay, what would it do to my family if I was to leave this world. And that really just stopped me from going too far. I tried, but it still kept me hanging on a bit. So at that point, I really thought, okay, this can't go on. I need to find out what is going to get me back on track, and that was going back into my spirituality, into deep thought. So I looked all around, various different things, and at some point I found the Earth Center. I think it was YouTube, one of the YouTube videos. And after spending so much time looking at different religions and philosophy and all those kind of things, it really just, I'd also say, blew my mind, but it took me to somewhere else. It gave me almost a sense of purpose at that time, because what they were sharing was so clear, and it was said in such a humble way that I could not ignore it. So, I decided to join the initiation, and through many hard years, I persevered, because initiation is not easy. And eventually I graduated and received my name, and yeah, that is pretty much my story.
Oh, Jason, Dwao for sharing that. So, I mean, it sounds like, because the journey of life can have its ups and downs, and it sounded like you really had some moments when you doubted life itself. And wow, that must be a very challenging place to be at. And unfortunately, we have more and more people get into that place. And I know you did share a little bit, but really for those who have that really times when they really feel, oh wow, like, oh, there's nothing left. What can you share with someone who may be feeling in a very dark place at the moment? What could you share with them to help to bring some light into their life?
I think as I said, one thing that really helped me was family. Just having people around you, even if it's not family, friends, people, you just keep talking. Also, one of the major things that kind of kept me going was doing art. Was drawing. Kind of, so drawing, poetry, really kind of getting my thoughts out onto paper. Maybe like going to poetry, readings and that kind of thing, just sharing, whatever I was, going through. And, the response of people, that kind of said, okay, I've got something here that isn't my depression. I've got something here that isn't, an illness. Something that's been with me from before all of those, bad things. So, just even if you don't have that kind of thing, just doing something that is flexing your brain,
And I mean, this is the initiate space, so it's a time where they share. And let me give out the number here as well. So if there's anyone who wants to call in just to know a bit more about the Earth Center, or maybe would like to speak with any of the initiates here, let me give out the number. It's 079-444-31366. That's 079-444-31366. And before we go, I wanted to ask you, Sanun, what specifically, and I know the initiate's journey is wow, there's so many moments, it's just one long moment in initiation. But could you share anything in initiation, or any moment or anything that really helped to stabilize you? Because from what I understand, going through initiation really has given you help to give you back that stability, that clarity of mind. What would you say was you know, something that you can recall? And I know, like I said, there are many moments, but what would you share with the listeners? Something about initiation that really helped to stabilize you?
I think the moment that kind of, or moments that really stand out to me was actually at the beginning of initiation, because, you know, here were other initiates coming, you know, from, whether it's from the US or, you know, from Merita. They were coming to bring knowledge to us, knowledge that came from our people, from our traditions. And in all of my, you know, reading and, you know, literal night-long internet, you know, searches of, you know, for information and knowledge, those you know, the first classes that we received really really spoke, you know, to my spirit as to where everything is kind of coming from, you know, where civilization is coming from. And it started to kind of, you know, say to me, okay, that, you know, I think Master Naba says, you know, the path only leads to where it, you know, is going to go. So, you know, at that point I was like, okay, I've been on a path and it got me nowhere. You know, this is a path that is going to lead me somewhere, you know, back to our traditions, you know.
Wonderful, yeah, and I concur with that, because it really is about getting on that path and returning to the tradition. And at this point, I just want to share the proverb of the week, because we do have proverbs, many proverbs within the initiation. And the one that we're going to share this week is this one. If you can't be a star in the sky, be a firefly on earth. If you can't be a star in the sky, be a firefly on earth. 079-444-31366 if you want to interact with us. This was the Initiate Space, and you're listening to Wisdom of the Nile.
Ujayi. This is Claudette speaking again. This is our international section where we're going to be introducing Mirror. We're going to be introducing our Meredith from Montreal, Canada, and we'll be asking her a few questions. And she is the chair of the Earth Center in Montreal, Canada, and I just want to welcome you. Please, Meredith, please go ahead and speak. Meredith, sorry for my mispronunciation of your name. Ujai.
Yeah, so my name is spelled Mary Neat.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Wow.
And yes, I am MTAM chair of the first generation in Canada, Montreal. And yeah, I'm very pleased to be a part of the Earth Center and to share a little bit with you on what's going on in Montreal. It's pretty cold out here for now, so it's one of the first challenges that we are facing as initiates, you know. So the weather is not easy, and try to, you know, be on time and for classes. It's one challenge. It's one of the challenges that we are facing.
Mm-hmm.
But,
What's the temperature like out there at the moment? What's your temperature?
the temperature is around minus 23.
Wow.
So in Celsius,
Wow.
I don't know in
That is-
Fahrenheit. Yeah, and there's the wind also that is putting more, so we can reach easily the minus 30.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's not an easy place to be in. Yeah, but we manage, and as the one of the initiates of the first generation, which is named Bumaktem generation. We're
What does that mean?
still.
What does that mean?
Excuse
Can
me?
What does the name mean? Can you share with
The
what the name is?
protectors of the principles of TEM.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Wow.
So yeah. Aside of that, we're still in action. You know, we have no choice. So we have our activities. We just had open door to introduce people of Montreal in the Earth Center and the services that we offer, the healing of Encasta that we can offer to people. And so we presented the three aspects of Earth Center, which is Entam, and then Sund, and also the KATB. And it was a great day on, I think it was the 8th, January 8th, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of people who came and asked questions, you know, ask for services, especially for Encasta. So it's a good thing. And also we have our mayor, mayor of MTAM generation, the first one, who's Satyoti is gonna be part of. It's not in the radio, but it's an activity that is done for mental illness in Asian community. And he's going to participate as a representative of the Earth Center and introduce some of MTAM knowledge in those kind of situations. And so we participate in those activities when we see that we can reach out to people also, especially in the community, because we're looking for answers, so that are a lot of times it's unspoken things.
And
Things.
yeah, Merini, because you
Yes.
spoke about the Haitian community, and you yourself
Yes.
are from the Haitian community?
Yes.
Right, and we know that within the Haitian community, they do practice traditional spirituality. That's one thing that's known, and the media puts this very negative voodoo thing on it and makes it look very negative. But we do know that there has been a lot of issues within the Haitian community, and that's interesting that the Earth Center are actually which is established, and we know that it's coming from the temples of Merita to be able to give that strength and to help support people in those different aspects. I think that's wonderful.
Yes, especially with the Asian community. There are a lot of people that still practice voodoo spirituality, and another part of them that need to have some light on particular subjects around spirituality, because it's a community that is really oppressed by a system. So they try to suppress that type of spirituality, which is a part of everyone. So yes, it's a good thing that we can share conversation with them and share some light on certain matters, subjects like mental illness. Yes.
Wow. Yeah, so you were saying the other activities that you're doing there?
Yes, we have, so that will happen on the 24th, Thursday the 24th, and Saturday the 26th for with the Asian community, but it's open to everyone, of course. And Thursday, February 14th, there's a circle of discussion on the matter of why do we say I love you. So it's an expression that is often misused by the society. So the circle of discussion will permit people to express more on their experiences and share some light again on those kind of subjects. And also, we have our orientation day on March 24th that is coming. So we're preparing to receive new initiates and give them information on the process of becoming an initiate and starting the practices and everything. So that's about it for now. And I have one of the youngest initiates with me, which is Nezeru from the Bumaktem generation. He wants to share also a little bit of his experience. Nezeru?
Welcome.
Yes. Wait a second. I'm just... Okay, go on.
The youngest, one of the youngest. Wow, that's interesting. How old is he?
Yes? Oh, he's 11.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he's 12. He's 12. He just turned 12. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, you can introduce yourself. Go on. Say
Ujai.
Ujai.
I'm Nesheru Bumaktam from
Welcome.
the first generation, Montreal, Canada.
Welcome.
And I just turned 12 this month, 4 days ago. And yeah.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. So, my experience on. So, my experience in this initiation so far is it was quite hard sometimes. There were hard times, there were good times, there were bad times. Sometimes it was a mix of everything. And yeah, I like my experience a lot, because the first days of initiation, you actually realize that this looks like something that is actually complete, like something that you can actually put your mind on, that will actually help you grow in your life, in your relationships, in your mind, in your heart, in anything that you want to evolve on. And when I first came in the initiation, I was very curious at the moment, because I was wondering, is it like, it was actually under my expectations that it would be bringing this much clarity in my life, so
Wow.
yeah. And it actually, one of the benefits that I've noticed in life is that, like, my brother initiates and my sister initiates in the generation, sometimes I just realize that I know them more. Like right now, sometimes some of the initiates in my generation, I know them more than some people of my family or something like that. And it brings people together.
Wow.
It brings people together, it makes a family, and yeah. And sometimes we're not meant to do challenges with each other. Sometimes it's just challenges meant for us. Sometimes it's challenges meant for us as a group. And the more you overcome them, the more they come to you, and the more you have to overcome more and more. And yeah.
Wow, you sound so articulate at your age, and it's amazing. How how do you even talk with your peers now? Because you've gained so much knowledge here, so that must be interesting just to hear how do you get on with your peers, your fellow schoolmates.
Well, now it's kind of like,
would you say it's more challenging or more, or you? What would you say?
Sometimes trying to know someone, or like, I see my brother initiates and my sister initiates as kind of like, sometimes we're equal, like, because the more we advance in the initiation together, the more we do more things together. We know each other better. It's like, at first we didn't know anybody, and we just came in and we saw these people, and we didn't like some people left, some people stayed, some people left, but some people wanted to leave, but they weren't sure. And yeah, so
it's like becoming a family, isn't
and
it? You have your ups and downs, and yeah.
yeah, and we respect each other because we respect each other's limits, we respect each other's space, we respect our principles, and yeah.
Wow, that is so good. Just to hear you say that, and at such a young age. That's really exceptional, really. Very proud to hear you say that.
Okay, so
Okay.
Wow.
Is there anything
that
else
was-
you'd like to share with us before
is there anything?
we leave? Is there anything else? I mean, yeah, that has been really powerful, just listening to someone so young. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us before, you leave?
Well, I invite people to come and join, because it really just it helps a lot. Like just at first glance, it may not seem like anything, but when you're actually in the initiation, it really just you see like a whole you have a whole new perspective of life, and this time at the end of the initiation, they say that it's a new beginning, because you actually know what life is, what is your mission, what you have to do, what not to do, because it didn't really make sense in the beginning that you get born, and then you start growing up, you go to school, and then you go to university, and then you you get older, and then at the end, what is the purpose of life then?
Wow, Sen. Just tell us your name again, because we want all the listeners to know about this young initiate here who's really tell us your name again, so that everyone knows that who you are.
So my name is Nazharu.
And just explain what your name means as well.
N-E-Z-G-R-U. And yeah.
And do you know
the meaning of my name is, from what I know, it's the guardian of Haru. The guardian of the principles of Haru.
Is it Nezharu or Mezharu? Say that again.
Nazharu.
Nezharu. Wow. Thank you.
Nini.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Initiate. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us. This was really very powerful, and such a young initiate.
Yes, I'm
Marini, yes.
Yes,
Are
I'm
you
back.
still there? Yes. Do you want to share anything else with us?
I don't have much to say, just that, Nazaroo shared a lot of
He did.
what I'm thinking already.
He did.
as an initiate, and yeah, to be part of this experience with younger initiate in a class of 11 adults. I
Wow.
mean, just looking at this and seeing a young one participate to discussions, grown up discussions,
Yes.
and being able to figure out how to how to relate to spiritual principles. That was already amazing. We were all
Yeah.
surprised.
It's very amazing.
And but at the same time, children are more are closer to um, the spiritual world than us. We as adults are already corrupted in so much ideas, of the system and the way of looking at things. Our perception is troubled. We're trying more to um, to get closer to that spirituality, which is the essence of life. That we're trying to figure out how to keep that alive in us. So we were talking a lot with Nezeru. We were studying a lot because we felt that it was easier for him, and that was the good part of the experience, that we can say yes. I personally can say, yeah, I had to stay close and hear a lot of his mind, his way of saying. So that's it. So yes, I will say the same thing. I will invite people to make that experience of awakening. The biggest part of ourself, through that initiation. It's getting in tune with the first part of the self.
Yeah.
That's a big thing, to take care of that part that we misuse. We have a bad way of using it, and the conception and the perception, and we're trying to go through life without taking care of that part, that important part in our life. Yeah. So, yep.
Wow.
It was a good thing.
Well, we want to really thank you so much. And, we're coming to an end now of our international section. And may the ancestors continue to guide you and to guide the school. And we thank you so much. Irihiru and Dual. Thank you.
Okay. Irihiru.
Irihiru.
Ujayi, yes, that was our initiates from Montreal, Canada, sharing their journey, Merinith and Nezheru. We want to share some information with you in what's happening in the UK here. So we're now in the Initiatic Tales segment. So we will be having a story from the initiation for you in this last segment before we close. But I want to share an event that's happening at the London School. So this Saturday, the 26th of January, we have a lecture at the Earth Centre London. It's Modern Medicine vs Traditional Healing lecture. And that's going to be at our school, 21 Sunnyside Road. That's London E10 7BB. Once again, 21 Sunnyside Road, London E10 7BB. It's 6. Have I got the time right? Is it 6 till 8? Yes, it looks like 6 till 8 p.m. And that's on the 26th of January. If you want more information on that, you can call 0207 175 4144. That's 0207 175 4144. After our Initiatic Tales, we'll be sharing with you again the details for the school and all our social media details. So now we have our sister who will introduce herself and introduce the story that will be shared with you.
Ujai, my name is Timishe, and today I'm going to be reading from the Initiatic Tales of Heshpatha. The story I'm reading today is called The Hyena and the Donkey, and it's regarding the psychological comfort that enslaves us. And it begins like this. There is in the human being an aspect, or let's say a factor, that if triggered, reduces our universe and deforms our sense of logic. This factor can sometimes be simply familiarity. Yes, familiarity or habit. A sort of zone individual comfort that defies the wisdom and all the common senses. It is clear that the human being cannot function if he doesn't find a psychological base from which to act. A human being only fears one thing, that which does not exist. The devil, you know, is better than the devil you don't know, we often say. It is also true that a lie that is repeated several times is a lot more credible than the truth that is rarely said. Maybe it is simply human to look for spaces of psychological comfort. But it is that principle of comfort that has allowed the sometimes peaceful cohabitation of humanity and what destroys humanity. Our attitudes resemble the one of a goat that has grown up with a rope on its neck, or the one of a human being who is born a slave. After some time, it becomes difficult to convince them of the oppression they live in. The rope simply becomes part of the goat, and the slave, even in the worst of his humiliation, will find elements of pride just from this zone of psychological comfort that he will find in his enslavement. If we observe our behavior, we will see that every time we are ridiculed in a conversation, it's because we have said ideas that contain nothing real except the logic born of our comfort zones. We must then recognize that there is a lot of evil that we don't see, or that we hesitate to recognize, because its presence is such that it becomes the detour in which we are evolved. The rope has grown with the goat. The story I'm going to tell is a Comanche legend from the savannah of the western part of Africa. Mr. Hyena was trotting through the savannah. His nose was constantly sniffing the air. with the hope of picking up the odor of a carcass that was decomposing, or simply a wound or a dying animal somewhere. He trotted for kilometers, only stopping sometimes for a drink in a creek. He turned around vigilant, trying to attack chicken or even sheep that wandered too far from the village. This is the hyena's life. It'll be unjust to think that the life of the hyena is not complicated. Hyenas think and they make decisions. For example, in the last full moon, Mr. Hyena sniffed in the air an odor that was strong, and he followed it. He arrived at a path that was passing a heavily loaded donkey. The donkey was carrying bars of salt and was followed by a human being holding a long stick. Mr. Hyena followed them from afar, observing all their movements and wondering what a donkey and a human being could be saying to each other. He finally decided to try to know more. He cut through the bushes and trotted the level of the donkey. He whispered, "Hey, Mr. Donkey, what are you doing?" The donkey answered without hesitation, "I'm walking." Without waiting any longer, the hyena went back trotting. The donkey was simply walking, he said to himself, laughing. Later that night, Mr. Hyena woke from his sleep. The image of the donkey was still walking, went back to his thoughts. He knows that the donkey was heavily loaded and there was a man behind him with a stick. He spent the rest of the night waiting impatiently for the sun to rise. As soon as he saw the morning coming, Mr. Hyena ran to the path and waited. He saw the heavily loaded donkey coming. Without attracting attention of the human with the stick that was following, he came close to the donkey and asked, "What are you carrying on your back? And what is this man doing behind you?" The donkey took time before he answered, "What am I carrying on my back belongs to the man behind me. And the stick he is holding is to hit me with every time I slow down." Mr. Hyena trotted away. The man with the stick forced the donkey to carry his load, he said to himself, laughing, and then he disappeared in the bushes. Later that night, Mr. Hyena woke from his sleep, apparently more intrigued than the day before. For him, it was simply impossible to imagine that the one that was carrying the heavy load was only compensated. Carrying the load was only compensated with beatings. So he said to himself that the donkey did not tell him the true compensations he was receiving from the man. He thought that maybe the donkey did not want to share the gifts he was receiving from the man with him. Maybe the human and the one of the bags full of big chunks of fried meat. Maybe the human was hitting the donkey, and every time he hit the donkey would open his mouth. And the human would throw a big chunk of meat to the donkey. Oh yes, he had found out what the donkey was hiding. So he spent the rest of the evening waiting impatiently for the sun to rise. As soon as the morning came, Mr. Hyena ran and hid by the path. He saw the heavily loaded donkey coming. He ran to the donkey and insisted for the donkey to let him carry the load. Mr. Donkey did not beg him for too long. As soon as he finished placing the heavy load on the back of the hyena, he went and hid in the bushes. As soon as the hyena received the first beatings, he turned his head to one side and opened his mouth widely, waiting for a chunk of meat. Instead of a chunk of meat, he received another blow to the neck on his mouth. He then turned his head to the opposite side, thinking that he might have turned his head to the wrong side. So he opened his mouth widely with his eyes closed. He received another blow. He brought his head down, whimpering with pain. He continued walking, thinking that maybe it was not time to eat yet. A few miles later, the hyena turned his head to one side and opened his mouth widely. He received one blow, then another. Whimpering with pain, he threw the load on the ground and ran through the bushes. The legend says that it is from that day that hyenas always run when they see a human being beaten with a stick. The story, again, is called The Hyena and the Donkey. Psychological comfort that enslaves us. And it enslaves us all, because we're all comfortable in our comfort zone.
Initiatic tales, tales from the initiation, stories that are meant to teach. You have been listening to Wisdom of the Nile show. I'm going to share the contact details with you for those who want to get in touch with the Earth Centre. We have the telephone number for the London School, which is 0207 175 4144. Email umtamuk at the Earth Centre. Centre is center.com. Umtam is M for mother, T for telephone, A for alpha, M for mother, U for under, K for king. At the Earth Centre. Centre is ter.com. Facebook is the Earth Centre UK. Twitter is Keptar UK. For K for King, E for Elephant, B for Bravo, T for Tango, A for Alpha, H for Heru. And Instagram is at the Earth Centre of UK. Our website is the earthcentre.org. So if you want to get in contact with us, you can contact us at those various social media platforms. And if you are interested in attending the event that is happening this Saturday, up there in Leighton, at the Earth Centre School, that event is Modern Medicine vs Traditional Healing Lecture. We'll have one of the initiate, Buwabti Fakara, sharing that lecture or giving that lecture on Saturday 26th of January, and that's going to be held at 27 Sunnyside Road, London E10 7BB. It's £7 entry, and you will also get some light refreshments. So if you want to know about the Earth Centre, if you want to come to that event, we also have other events happening on Saturday the 2nd of February. We have a natural and traditional cleansing detoxification lecture. Again, that's £7. And that is 6 till 8 p.m. That will be happening on 2nd of February. And then Saturday the 9th of February, there's a herbs product sale, and that's free entry. That time is, again, 6 till 8 p.m. So if you're interested in any of those events that's going to be happening at the London School, give us a call on 0207 175 4144. So I'm just being shown another social media platform. Do you want to share with us, Sanun?
So we are on Meetup. It's called the Earth Centre Kemetic Mystery School UK, and there you can RSVP for all of the events and keep up to date with upcoming events and things like that.
Okay, so we are going to take our leave now. Want to say dua to all the initiates who have been sharing with you in this show, Wisdom of the Nile. So I'm Katasta.
I'm Tamisha.
I'm Claudette.
And I'm Sanan.
And we are saying Iri Haru until next time.
Iri Haru.
jalide kumbo mani jalide kumbo mani we jalide kumbo mani Famadina kumbo maninde Numudina kumbo maninde Finadina kumbo mani ijalide jalide Jalida